Alright, hey, basically, well, I'm going to show you. You see that? That right there is exactly what a bad wheel bearing looks like, and that's what we're going to be replacing. So, I'll walk you through it. I'll show you what needs to be done. We do have the wheel bearing. They do need to be pressed in here, so you do have to remove the spindle. So here we go. Let's get this thing started. Now that we have the wheel removed, this particular car has spacers on, okay? So when you put spacers on, it pulls the wheel further away from the hub, so it'll put more pressure on the bearing, so it will wear it out prematurely. Get the spacer off. Here a little closer. This is sometimes what you have to do to make this stuff fit. If you look, this is ground off, okay? Now when these are on here, what happens is it doesn't seat down all the way, so it sticks up, and when you have a flat spacer, it needs to be flush or behind. Some wheels have openings in here, and that allows the bolts to go in, which is the whole idea of it and why they're like that. Now this one here, I don't know if you can pick it up, but I can see. Oh, these lights don't work on that one. I'm trying to use the gun for a flashlight. You can kind of see in the hole there that that lug right there is kind of pretty much rounded off. So I'm at the point where I'm going to have to try to beat a socket onto it, I guess. Maybe try to pull it out. We got a shallow 19, that's a 6-point. Hopefully we can give it a whack with a hammer and we can get that off, so we're not spending a lot of time drilling that lug off. Guess there's good reason why that one's still on there and stripped off. So we have an adapter on here so that it'll fit down through these long lugs, but I'm not getting anywhere with this one. So I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to try some air, and hopefully we can get this thing loose. See how it's fitting in there. It's hardly grabbing anything. Alright. Now you can definitely see. Check out the center there. It's actually got a lip pushed up. You can feel it. It's being forced on there. I always take it off by removing the two caliber brackets, and then there's two bolts holding, or yeah, two bolts coming through and thread into the caliber bracket. They're 18 millimeter. Put this off here. Everybody always complains about me letting calibers hang, so let's get that taken care of. There we go. We got the caliber up on the tree there. So these are 18s up here. I don't know how tight they're going to be. We rotor off. So your center bolt, I use a 32 millimeter for it, socket. I have everything else pretty much taken off this now, other than it being completely dirty, which I guess is good for rust. Stops it. So we have our 21. You want to hold the bolt, undo the nut, get them off. Usually I give them a little tap. If for some reason they feel like they got caught, you can spin them backwards out. They'll kind of thread out. Now, there we go. All right. So that's out. That's it. It's off. So what I'll do is I take the hammer and I tap on here and I lift on this right here. And that allows it to slide off of the lower ball joint. Go. All right, check it out. Man, she is had a good life. I mean, honestly, I've never had one come out that easy. I just gave it a whack, came right out. Now this one here actually looks like it should probably have the hub replaced. So I guess we're putting a hub in this one. Now, like I said, once that's off, we have 3 here that are 13s that we're going to have to remove. This here, I have a cutoff wheel. I'll grind through it in like 2 places, and then a lot of times you can split it with the how would you say that? You could split it with the chisel here and the hammer, and then put it back in. Go. So obviously this and that are not they're replacements, so they're not stock original parts. All right, now what I'll do is I'll take this back air and I'll put it on the press, and it'll actually force this bearing out the bottom. This way we'll lift out, then we'll get our other one and we'll put it in. All right, so if you've seen any of the other videos, let's just ignore the mess that's in here right now. At least I still have access. So we have a large socket that'll fit down through this opening. This is an older wheel bearing, same vehicle. I just stacked 2 sockets and I got a couple brake pads on there. Instead of moving this, it was just easier. So what I'm doing right now is this is actually pushing this out the bottom of the spindle. All right, I'm just kind of holding this so when it does go, everything just doesn't go flying onto the floor, because then I'll have to figure out where it's at in this mess. All right, there we go. All right, so here is our old one. Okay, so now to put this new one in, all we need to do is put these stacked up here just right. I know I did this before many times. All right, so we got that. I always like to take, you know, this doesn't hurt. Try to get this thing supported. Try to get it nice and level and square so that it has something to press against. Okay, so that's what this is. That's what I'm doing here. Let's spin this. We can see a little bit better. Okay, there's that one. There's that one. All right. So I think that's actually pretty good. This was the supplied wheel bearing. So that's what we're using now. Oh. If you could only see entirely what I'm standing on, it would be quite amazing. So basically you get this thing kind of like set down in there, and then all you do is you just press away until it gets seated all the way down in there. Press it till it stops. There we go. It's in. Now we got to put that cover top plate on, and now we need to get a hub. Alright, I just figured I'd show this here anyway. I took a cutoff wheel and I notched it here and there, and then gave it a little whack, and it's starting to come off. We're not on the tripod right now, so I'm going to, like I said, I just kind of whack. I get in here and I'll hit it with the hammer, and it kind of spreads it a little bit once you get ground in there enough. So basically, I think what's going to happen is I'm going to end up having to reuse this one because I didn't hear anything back, and make it work. So basically, I just need to get the hammer in my one hand and the chisel in the other, and the camera not. So we'll get this out, we'll get this cleaned up, and I'll show you what we're doing when we're pressing it back in. Oh my goodness. Now I will tell you here, if I can stand on these transmissions that are all in the way of the press. We now have a new hub. I received this yesterday evening, but I didn't get a chance to press it in, which I wanted to. So basically, I have this on here. I have a socket that's going to hold this center, because if you try pushing down, that could catch that other part and push that center out. So I actually have a socket lined up perfectly underneath here on the inside of this. So we're going to take this right here, okay guys? We're going to line that up in the middle. And basically, we're going to push that down in, and this is going to finish up this install on this bearing. Now we can get this hub back on the car. Okay, it's in all the way. So anyway, this press came from Harbor Freight. As you can tell, it's Central Machinery. Cheap item, seems to work really good. I've done a bunch of these so far. So you can see, it's pressed in all the way. Spins, no play. Perfect. Alright, let's go get this installed on the car. I'm going to clean this off a little bit. I'm going to put some anti-seize on it. It's just the way I like to do it. Make sure my threads are all cleaned up. And then I can slide it into the hub, because that's going to be easier, and then drop it right down onto the wheel bearing. Just a little bit, you know. Who knows who's going to have to take this apart, replace it again. You know, car could last a really long time depending on who's caring for it. I don't know, maybe I talk too much, but let's get this together. Alright, sit down in here. I need to. There's our bolt. The ball joint is slotted, so it only goes one way. So we got that installed. Now, here's our nut. I'm just going to, I know I have some on there, but I'm just going to put a little bit here on the inside. That'll actually coat the threads as it's going on. So make it pretty easy to get out next time. There's that. Spin this back around. If you're working on certain cars, sometimes the suspension doesn't go down far enough. Make sure that this does not hit your boot, because you could damage it in your axle, and that's a bad thing. So this one's pretty easy. When they're lowered like this, they just go a whole lot easier. started up here. All right. Tie rod in. Do that turn. So it's going to be over that way. And castle nut. Castle. It's pretty cool. I like castles. Okay, easy stuff right there. Give these a tap. Pulls them in tight. 21. Always hold these with a wrench. Oh, wrong direction. Okay, good to go there. Now we need, see if we got 15 and 18. Here's 19. Here's 18. And 15. Not sure where that got taken off to. 17. That's definitely not it. Alright, there's just so many different tools because, well, this has a whole bunch of normal stuff that isn't on here. So let's see. What we got for a tie rod. Tie rod's gonna be an 18. So let's get that put on. Here. Okay. Tie rod's installed. Need to get a 15, and then I can get this lower ball joint installed. And hold the bolt. Put the zinger in. Alright. That's all assembled. So right now, need to tighten this up. But we can get our rotor installed. And our caliber racket, so let's double check. Yep. Sliders feel good on them. This is to have somebody push on your brake pedal. I looked up torque specs. They say 180, so we'll see if we can get it to hold, which I think we're right there. But let me show you my helper. We got helper hood prop right here. Pushing on the brake pedal. So they have multiple uses. Get this contraption back together. Right here. Yep, 19. Get this thing on here. Better. Oh. Alright, that's as tight as we can get it with that. Now we have the other spacer. I'm not sure which way we had to sit on here. So alright, now we got the fancy spacer on there. Check this out. Alright, with these type of lug nuts, usually you don't like to, you shouldn't really, you know, I guess aluminum lugs, you don't want to run them on with an impact. And, I mean, really shouldn't take them off with one. But, you know, that's what I had. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it down onto the ground because we're actually finished with this part. And I'm going to hand torque them with the torque wrench. Most wheels are right around 100 foot-pounds, so that's where I'm going to put them. That way I know they're done.